Hello, ladies. Happy Monday night. I hope you guys are having had an awesome weekend and are feeling rejuvenated and got some time to food prep and everything. I'm going to try not to touch my table because apparently it moves really easily. So I'm sorry if I do, if I get excited and I bump it. But anyway, congrats. You guys are done with the first week, which is always kind of the way I like to approach it is very like kind of going into it, prepping yourself for it. And then this week is when you really fully dive in. Maybe you were really prepared and you took that first week and you really ran with it and you just dove in. Congrats. Awesome. Good job. If you're moving into this week and this is your first official week of really being ready, good job. You're going to do great. Remember, we're all here to support you. And I'm just really proud of everything you guys have been putting up. You guys are rock stars, and I just feel very honored to be working with a group like you. So thank you to everybody who's been really posting on social media, on Facebook. It's just nice to kind of get to know you guys since this is an online program. But anyway, so we're going to dive into tonight's meeting. Just know that if anything does not get answered here, please just you can comment when I post this on the Facebook page to answer any questions that you guys have, because that's what this is all about, just getting you guys some clarity and all that. Okay, so let's dive in. I'm going to start by answering. Oh, see there? I kicked the table. Okay. I'm going to start by answering questions that have been given to me throughout this past day and whatnot on social media. And then you guys can also jot in any questions that you guys might have that come up, and hopefully we get those all answered. Okay, so a big one that seemed to come up for a few people is about snacking, and I think this is a really good question, and there's a lot of different angles that we're going to talk about. You guys are getting snacking. You're getting a snacking email this week, and basically that is just my list of like sugar-free snacks that I like to give to all my clients. So that's a really good thing to print off and have handy, because I know it's really easy to kind of like eat almond butter all the time and that's it. So kind of thinking outside of the box and offering you some different options so that we don't go overboard on the peanut or the almond butter. That's what that's going to be there for. So a couple things about snacking. I know somebody said like I tend to snack because it's like 10 a.m., 3 p.m., whatever. Even if I'm not hungry, I'm just in that mindset of like, this is my breakfast, lunch, dinner, and these are my snacks. If you are dealing with any thyroid issues, or if you are dealing with metabolic syndrome, or if you're also dealing with like PCOS, then and adrenal fatigue, those are the instances where I would say stick to more of a schedule. But if you aren't dealing with any of those, I challenge you to intuitively eat. Okay, so what I mean by intuitively eating is instead of going along with the schedule of it's 10 a.m. this is when I have my snack, I want you guys to stop and start asking yourself, okay, instead of going to grab my snack, am I really hungry for it? For instance, I know somebody posted on, I think Katie posted something about bulletproof coffee. And that is very high in fat. If you're adding protein, you're getting 18 grams of protein plus, and you're getting carbs in there too. So you might not be hungry at 10. That might hold you over until 12, 1 o'clock. You don't need to add in a snack if you are not hungry for it, okay? So I challenge you to intuitively eat so long as you are getting 3 solid meals, okay? So that's important when you are doing kind of an elimination approach, a Whole30 approach. Focus on your 3 meals, get 3 good solid meals in, and then if you do find you're hungry, start adding in maybe 1 snack. And that's where maybe you reach out to me personally, or you can post it on Facebook and ask me questions concerning that a little bit more if you do find you're really hungry at like mid-morning and mid-afternoon, because there might be some other things going on there as well. Okay, so hopefully that kind of answers that. Let's see, I'm just going to answer all the snacky ones right away. Snacking on dried fruit. Okay, so yes, that's an okay substitute, but I want you guys to avoid getting into a rut with like having too many nuts and then dried fruit, because nuts are pretty high in omega-6s, and so are a lot of other things. And so we want to balance out our fats, our omega-6 to omega-3s. I know you guys read about that in the fats email you got last week. And it's really easy to go overboard with almond butter and nuts. So keep those as limited as you can. Just a handful, maybe here or there throughout the week is fine. Same thing with dried fruit. You're getting high carbs, high sugar, not the highest nutrients, for not a lot of bang really. So just be kind of aware of that. Keep that in mind when you're making choices like that. You will get that snacks email this week, and hopefully that will help you, think of some new ideas. But really, my favorite go-to, I know this is like, such a health coach thing to say, but I really focus on, okay, if I'm going to have a snack, how can I keep it like pretty minimal? So I like to do raw veggies, and I'm not asking you to eat like raw asparagus. Eat the ones that you like. If you like carrots, if you like celery, if you like peppers, snack on those. I dip it in guac. You could do a little bit of almond butter if you want. There's also, if you want to do like, this is good for parasites, but you can blend up in your KitchenAid, well, not your KitchenAid, your Ninja or your mixer of whatever sort you have. You could do pumpkin seeds and coconut manna, which is coconut butter. And that's a really high fat. You're going to get some carbs in there, and then you can do that with some sort of protein. So that's actually a really good treat. And if you do have any like sweet cravings, it's sweeter. It tends to be sweeter, and there's no sugar in it. So except for the natural sugar from coconut, which I still think is pretty minimal in that. So that's a great substitute. But yeah, so be careful with the nuts and the dried fruits. Don't let that be your go-to. Okay. I'm just going to check and make sure nobody's trying to get on here and can't. Okay. Nothing. Okay. So that, next thing about snacking, somebody, I believe, Amy mentioned about late night snacking. Yes. Totally get it. Lots of clients go through this. I understand. There's a few things that could be going on here. First of all, you might not be eating enough during the day. Especially for my vegetarians, you could be very, very depleted in protein. So you're getting home and you're ravenous and you're binging at the end of the day, eating so much. And that can be for my non-vegetarians, my non-vegans as well. So make sure you guys are eating enough during the day. I am okay with you guys using my Fitness Pal. If you want to add me and then have me take a look, that is completely fine. The one thing I don't want you to do with my Fitness Pal is get obsessed with calories. That's not what we're looking to do here. That's not where we are yet. So if you know that you can go on there and not obsess over the calories, by all means do that. Add me as a friend. We can look over it, email back and forth a little bit, and we can make sure you're eating enough so that you're not binging at the end of the night. So that's going to be important. Another thing, if you're just bored at the end of the day, kind of ask yourself, what am I hungry for? Because, and again, you're going to get something on this. Hi. So you're going to get something on this this coming week about triggers. So that's something that we're going to focus on. Okay. So at the end of the day, when you are, hi, I'm just going to stop video so we don't get, anyways, so at the end of the day, when you are realizing that you're going to go to the kitchen and you're really hungry, or maybe you're not hungry, you're just bored, I want you to start to notice those triggers. I have a worksheet coming to you guys that's going to kind of walk you through how to notice those triggers a little bit more. So that's coming. But if it's not out of boredom, or if it is out of boredom even, what I want to challenge you guys to do, a really good thing is to say, okay, closing off the kitchen. I clean up after dinner. I do my dishes, everything. And then I close the kitchen. So the lights are off. I don't need to go back in there. You know, you just focus on, you know, if you need water, have the water out with you, but kind of like close it off like a restaurant would be closed. So that's another technique. But again, we're going to be getting some information about triggers. We're going to be working on those a little bit more. Hopefully that will clear up any questions that you guys have around why am I doing this? But so if that's your late night snacking kind of thing, those are some tips that I would definitely focus on. And again, mainly a big one is that you probably aren't eating enough throughout the day. So yes, if you want to do MyFitnessPal, go ahead. But again, focus on how much we'll talk about it. Reach out to me, share with me your MyFitnessPal. All you need to do is go add me. My MyFitnessPal is Kylie Seifert, and I will put it up for you guys so you can find me. But if you know that you are probably going to only look at the calories and get obsessed with that, please don't do MyFitnessPal, okay? But you can write down what you're eating and then send that over to me as well too, just to make sure you're eating enough, okay? So moving on, I had a question about food sensitivities and what the most common results turn out to be. I would say it's a pretty good half and half between dairy and dairy and grains, gluten. For me, legumes are not okay. But let's see. So about half and half. So some dairy and then some gluten. And I would say everybody's so different. And when we add them back in, what I want you guys to notice is like, if you're noticing minor things, you might be able to have a little bit, or you might even want to stretch out, you know, we're doing this for 6 weeks, but you might want to stretch out yours a little bit longer and maybe do like only add a little bit of dairy in day one. Notice how you feel. Add a little bit more, because for me, I can have a little bit of dairy, but I can't have a lot because my joints ache. And then legumes just totally wreck my digestion. Woo. So, and then gluten just doesn't make me feel good. So I just avoid it. But those are kind of, it just varies. So it's hard to say like what specifically is the biggest thing. I'm just going to check back to, again, making sure nobody's missing out. Okay. Next thing, all or nothing mindset. I think Alyssa mentioned something, and your guys' responses were so great. What I've found, and this takes practice and commitment over and over and over, is if I screw up for one day, I know how to get myself back on. And I also know that if I continue the way that I am, if like I have one bad day and then I have a week of bad days or a month of bad days, I'm going to pay for it big time. My digestion's going to hurt. My energy is going to be super low. I'm probably going to get a little bloated and feel uncomfortable, things like that. So now that I know that, I had to go through kind of eliminating to get back to a point of knowing that that doesn't make me feel good. I don't like being in that. So yes, I can have a day or two that may be oops, but getting back on is important because I know what it's going to lead to. And honestly, just be gentle with yourselves. You guys, we don't have to take ourselves so serious. If we have a bad day, laugh, enjoy the food you had, and then get back on. Don't kick yourself, beat yourself up, judge yourself and feel guilty, because that's going to harm you more than just saying, well, you know what? The ice cream was really good, and so was a pizza, and tomorrow's a new day. I can start over. So I think it was Kate's suggestion was just pour yourself a bath, and make a tea, and just relax. Just let it go. Don't let it fester, and don't let it build up, because that anxiety, that judgment, that stress, that guilt is going to hurt you more than actual food. So let it go. Start over the next day. Fall back on your community. Ask your family for support. Ask your friends for support. That's super important. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Triggers we kind of talked about. You guys are going to be getting a worksheet on triggers, but again, I want you to actually, I take my phone and throughout the day, I kind of keep tabs on this is when I've done this exercise, keep tabs on what triggers are coming up and why. So in my phone, I'll go, okay, I'm having a really bad craving for maybe chips and salty things or whatever. But what am I really craving there? And then maybe at the end of the day, you notice it's boredom, and maybe your significant other's been working. You don't have that relationship right now and you're craving that. Make note of that. Okay. So that's kind of what I want you guys to do with the trigger stuff. And I'll explain more in the email, but I want you to get in that mindset of noticing your triggers instead of just saying like, I'm powerless. I just have to have this chocolate right now. Notice your triggers and then dissect them a little bit. Okay. Chocolate cravings. Yeah. Okay. So a couple things about chocolate. There's a couple things that could be going on here. You could be craving or needing magnesium. So a good way, an easy way to fix that is add raw cacao or cocoa, whatever you want to call it, into your diet. So if you're making smoothies, put some raw cacao in there. You can honestly make like paleo chili with cacao in it. You can put it on, if you get like a coconut yogurt, like Koyo, you can put some in there. You can sprinkle some on top of your almond butter. So just start adding that in, and that might help with that craving. Moving forward, I would say you guys can do 85% or darker chocolate, but avoid it for the time being, okay? And so I have some explanations of what you actually might be craving if you're craving sweets or chocolate. So again, chocolate might be magnesium, so that's something to keep in mind. The next one would be if you're craving, so let's just go off. If you're craving sweet foods, you actually, I know this sounds really weird, but might be needing, you might be needing some of the nutrients from cruciferous veggies. So we're looking at broccoli, cauliflower, those types of things. I'm totally blanking on all of them right now. Brussels. So you actually are probably needing nutrients from that. You're deficient. So start adding some of those in. You also might want to do like sweet potato. That would help. That might help with those sweet cravings. If you're craving salty, try raw nuts, seeds. You might be having a little bit of a chloride deficiency. So even doing like fish, you can try fish and see if your salt cravings kind of go away there. And then you also might be craving electrolytes. So there is lots, and maybe I'll try and post one. I'll make note. There's a lot of like electrolyte drinks that you can make, but basically you could do like lemon, lime, sea salt, and then a dash of stevia. You can also do it in like soda water. So like LaCroix or something like that would be a good option, excuse me. So those are some options for sweet and salties if you're finding you're craving those. All right, let's see, what else do I have for you guys? Okay, so kind of going back over our last week's emails that we got, food prepping. I hope food prepping is going easily for you. Something I didn't touch on that I do find is super beneficial is to think about planning out your food prepping in the most efficient ways possible. So carbs always take the longest. So if you're doing like a big batch of sweet potatoes or not yet, but rice down the road, plantains, rutabaga, anything like that, those are going to take the longest. So I usually like to get those washed up, cut up, or honestly, I just put my sweet potatoes in whole. I'll stick them with the fork, put them in the oven, keep it simple. But those take the longest. So I'll put them in the oven, and then I'll start with my protein. So I will start to saute up my meat or do whatever, cook my chicken. If you are vegan at this point, you can get the legumes on. And then after that, I have time to chop up my veggies, roast my veggies, make my snacks. So it's kind of like this tier of like carbs, protein, and then veggies and snacks at the bottom. I know those aren't your macros, but that's kind of the easiest way to approach it. Food planning. So I mentioned this and somebody else did, and I love this, but make a Pinterest board for recipes that you want to try. And then don't try something new every single week. Have your go-to meal. So maybe like for us, we do fajitas a lot. We'll do even bunless burgers are super simple. I'll make a couple crock pot things. Like I will usually keep those in the rotation and then add something new in. So do that to make it easy on yourself, because then you don't have to look at the whole recipe. You just know what you need to do and then you do it. Whys. Thank you for putting your whys up, you guys. I love them. Whether they're for your family or whether they're for yourself, they're so good, and that will help you move through anything that you need to do. So those chocolate cravings, the wanting to give in to sweets, late night snacking, when you remember your why, that should hold you back. And if it doesn't, your why is not deep enough. So go a little bit deeper. But thank you so much for putting them up. I love seeing them. Write them down. Keep them somewhere where they're visible for you so that you can always revisit them too. Fats. Hopefully we don't have any questions about fats. Fats can be kind of tricky, but hopefully my email was pretty detailed. And if you guys have any further questions, ask. I would print off that practical paleo guide. That's my favorite fat guide, and then just kind of reference back to that. But unfortunately, there are some oils that should not be heated. So that's something to keep in mind. Affirmations. So I saw Amber put her affirmations up. I love that. Thank you. Affirmations are insane, you guys. They're so powerful. Please get into a routine of using them every morning. Even if you repeat 5, that takes you like 5 seconds. I can't recommend this enough. I actually repeat, I would say anywhere from 75 to 100 affirmations every morning. I start my morning out with it. I pour some lemon water, and then I sit down and I do my affirmations, and I do where I just read them out really quietly underneath my breath. They don't need to be out loud. But do them for things that you want to feel, create, whatever it is. Trust me, I've seen amazing things happen. So that's huge. Get those down and get at least one up on the Facebook board for me, please. Okay. Inventory. Okay. So this is important because we revisit this at the end. I want you guys in a journal, on a piece of paper somewhere. Oh, see, I got excited and I got you guys shaking again. Put them somewhere where you are going to know and remember that you can revisit, because at the end of this, we're going to revisit how our sleep is, how our bloat is, how our energy is, how our brain fog, how our mood is, how our skin looks, cravings, all of that stuff. So it's really important that we get that jotted down. Spend some time on this. Okay. Really think about, how am I sleeping? Am I really sleeping good? Do I wake up feeling refreshed, ready to go? Am I achy? All that stuff. It's super important to take inventory, right? Go inside, take that inventory, write it down, because we're going to come and revisit it. Let's see. Oh, also, if you guys want to start tagging me in your Facebook posts, that would be great. If you have a question or something, because sometimes there's a lot of stuff going through there. So tag me just to make sure I see it. Other than that, I'm probably going to put a poll up for when the best time to do a meeting is. I'm going to be coming back from the cities next Sunday, so we can try and do it, but it might be late. So I will put a poll up and see what you guys think. Lots of good stuff coming to you. Oh, somebody also wondered about how many times to work out per week. Here's the deal. You guys are getting 2 to 3 workouts per week. On top of that, feel free to do your own thing. Like, I am fine with, honestly, 5 days of actual workout, 2 days of rest and recovery. So yesterday, for instance, I went snowshoeing. It was a workout. So that would have been like my rest day workout. So I'm not saying, and some days you need a day where you lay on the couch or you just like hang out with your family at home and you don't do anything. That's fine. But I don't like to use the rest day as like, I can just be lazy, right? So let's get out, let's move around, whether it's a walk with your dog, with your kid, with your family. It's snowshoeing, cross-country skiing right now, skiing, biking, as it warms up. So keep that in mind. But yoga, even on your rest days, are fine. Just minimal stretching, things like that. So I say work out 3 to 5 times per week. Okay. And you can use the workouts. Then, aside from that, shoot for like 10 to 15 minutes of movement a day. Right. So if you can't get like a full workout in, if you can just do 10 minutes of movement a day, you're golden. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else for you guys tonight. I hope you guys please ask questions. Let me know what you need. You have a lot of good stuff coming to you, and I'm really excited. So thank you all for putting everything in. You guys are rock stars, and I'm so excited to be working with you. I'm getting excited again. Do you see this? It's bouncing. Okay. Have a wonderful night.